Coming up on News 2, some major U.S. airports are getting ready to start additional screening for travelers as necessary precautions to prevent the spread of Ebola. Find out what our local Department of Health is doing. Plus, details on the Project Homeless Connects 2014 and how you can lend a hand. Plus, children learned more than the stop, drop, and roll steps when it comes to Fire Prevention Week. Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Guman-Singh. Topping our newscast tonight, doctors, nurses, researchers, and other medical and health professionals from around the country are on St. Thomas this week. The Caribbean Exploratory Research Center is hosting the 7th Annual Health Disparities Institute. What is the focus of this year's conference in the effort to eliminate inequalities in healthcare? News 2's April Knight has details.
Health professionals gathered on St. Thomas again for the National Health Disparities Conference, and this year they're focused on vulnerable populations that don't get enough access to health care.
So men, we're looking at the disabled, we're looking at children, we're looking at the elderly, and women of color who have a lot of health disparities.
This year's theme is 2020 Vision for Addressing and Eliminating Health Disparities in Special and Vulnerable Populations. One session focused specifically on men and their approach to health care.
A lot of it was trying to give insight into how men think about health and what health means to them, meaning concretely that men may define health more by what their bodies can do and their ability to go to work and ability to be providers, that more so than necessarily what blood tests and high blood pressure would think about or look like to them.
According to some panelists, on average, men are less likely to seek help on health issues than women.
A lot of times men tend to be more reactive as opposed to preventive for their health care.
They're also talking about cultural and linguistic barriers. Patients who speak a different language or come from a different culture might not get all of the health information they need.
Sometimes people go to physicians or their other healthcare providers, leave, and really are confused about what was said to them.
Organizers hope that their participants not only take home a lot of information, but also spread the word to help eliminate health disparities altogether. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Now, the Health Disparities Institute started Wednesday, October 8th and continues at the Marriott Spencer's Reef until Friday, October 10th. Juan F. Louis officials are responding to criticisms about a consultant they hired who is accused of being responsible for the deaths of 2 people in her care. Juan F. Louis CEO Dr. Kendall Griffiths said he hired Dr. Nedra Dodds as a consultant in September. Dodds' contract was to help improve back office customer service and billing and physician documentation. At no time, he said, did she interact with the hospital's patients. The hospital reviewed Dodd's contract as part of CMS's statement of deficiencies and terminated that contract on October 4th when they realized she was not suited to the position. Dodd's medical license is suspended in Georgia. She's alleged to have contributed to the deaths of 2 patients who were having plastic surgery. Governor John DeYoung Jr. said on Wednesday he received and accepted the resignation of Personnel Director Kenneth Herman Jr. that will be effective November 3rd, 2014. Herman, who has served as Director of the Division of Personnel since the beginning of the DeYoung administration in 2007, has accepted a position in Fulton County, Georgia. DeYoung thanked Director Herman and said he is grateful for his efforts and leadership on several high-profile projects, including the Retroactive Wage Commission, the Classification and Compensation Study, and the Certified Public Managers Program. He has been a guiding force on the Government Employees Services Commission Health Insurance Board of Trustees. Meanwhile, the official word of another resignation, as we reported on Wednesday, Acting Director of the Virgin Islands Bureau of Corrections, Dwayne A. Benjamin Sr. on Wednesday announced the resignation of Golden Grove Adult Correctional Facility and Detention Center Warden Donald Redwood and the immediate appointment of Diane Prosper to fill that post. Now, Prosper is an 18-year veteran of the agency, rising through the ranks and most recently served as the assistant warden, a position she has held for 6 years. Benjamin credits Redwood for the progress realized at Golden Grove facility over the last 8 months. Project Homeless Connect 2014 kicks off on Friday, October 10th on St. Croix, Friday, October 17th on St. John, and Friday, October 24th on St. Thomas. Now, the Project Homeless Connect is a day of caring to serving the homeless of the U.S. Virgin Islands with comprehensive, holistic services. The United Way is seeking volunteers to be escorts, guides, greeters, and wait staff.
Anyone interested in participating or volunteering, they're welcome to call the United Way of the Virgin Islands of St. Thomas, St. John, 774-3185, or they can call Human Services at 774-0930, extension 4104 or 4109. On St. Croix, those persons who would like to volunteer can contact Angelique Fertschneider at 773-1404. So it's a great opportunity to volunteer and be a part of the solution of homelessness in the Virgin Islands.
Officials from the territory's hospitals and departments of health have been meeting regularly since last week to plan their strategy for dealing with Ebola. Now that the first patient on U.S. soil has died from Ebola, they say education is key, along with following proper procedures to combat the virus. News2's Erica Parsons has this story.
Health and hospital officials are preparing a management plan in the event the Ebola virus spreads to the VI.
Everybody plays a crucial role in this, and that's why the collaboration between the two entities is so important. Education.
This week, health officials from local agencies met to discuss the territory's preparedness and response. Health officials also took to the airwaves to educate the public on the Ebola virus.
It's a virus. It's transmitted through bodily fluids. And it can cause flu-like symptoms at first, so fever, headache, abdominal pain, but can rapidly progress to bleeding manifestations and organ failure.
Health officials have been in regular talks with the CDC. They've also been providing training to the territory's hospitals and health centers through meetings.
I think that we are ready. Are we 100% ready? That takes time.
The hospital staff has specific protocols to identify potential cases. They would in turn alert the Department of Health.
We ask all the questions, pertinent questions that we need to ask. We have electronic methods of identifying exactly what questions need to be asked, so it's a consistent, standardized manner of doing it. And we're also screening our staff to ensure that those questions are being asked on a daily basis to every patient that comes in with some signs.
If someone is suspected of having Ebola, they will be quickly isolated. JFL officials say they have the basics when it comes to personal protection equipment, but they're in the process of identifying what else they need and just how much. Erica Parsons, News 2.
Health officials said there is a screening questionnaire at airports, but no restrictions on travel yet. Additional information about the Ebola virus can be found on their website at www.healthvi.org. Well, turning our attention overseas, the remains of Thomas Duncan, for the first patient diagnosed with Ebola in the United States who died yesterday, was cremated. Health officials say it was to prevent the virus from spreading. Duncan's death raised questions on the care he received. He was turned away from the hospital 3 days before he was placed in an isolation ward. Meanwhile, Texas officials are waiting for the Ebola test results on Sheriff's Deputy Michael Monig, who went inside Duncan's contaminated apartment. He complained of Ebola-like symptoms, but is said to be doing better as of Thursday. And keeping our eye on the economy, if you found yourself waiting around at the airport, airline delays and cancellations are up slightly from August of last year. The U.S. Department of Transportation says the nation's largest airlines still arrived on time more than 77% of the time. The airlines say bad weather is usually to blame. Here's a look at the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. The Dow, Nasdaq, S&P all down. The Dow 334, Nasdaq 90, S&P 40. Coming up on News 2, students attended the fire jamboree and learned a whole lot about fire prevention and safety tips. They also received some cool fire hats. We'll be right back. Well, as the VI observes National Hispanic American Heritage Month, September 15th to October 15th, everyone is invited to an interactive lecture by international scholar, designer, and linguist Inez Mercedes Davis Parks for a presentation on African cultural influences in the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and other Spanish-speaking countries. It started this evening. However, there is another one scheduled on Friday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at the UVI St. Croix campus. Also, the Department of Education has commenced a series of Hispanic outreach focus meetings that began this evening at the Estate Prophet Community Center. More will be held October 15th and October 22nd at specified Hispanic neighborhoods on St. Croix. The meetings are all open forums. Count on 2 to keep you updated. Well, as part of the celebration of Fire Prevention Week, the VI Fire Department held its annual Fire Jamboree on St. Thomas. Hundreds of school children gathered at the Lionel Roberts Stadium and were treated to their very own hard hats, demonstrations on fire safety, and even a bouncy house.
We have all the students from the different schools come and participate in the fun events that we have and learn about fire safety. This year's theme for Fire Prevention Week is Fire Alarm Saves Lives. Check yours every month. We have our brand new bouncies for our kids that we purchased for our kids that we're going to be utilizing besides on Prevention Week. Some demonstration as far as fire extinguishment and have some giveaways also. They're going to see our execution of fire extinguishment by our firefighters, and we're going to have some of them probably hold a hose or two to just get a feel of how it works.
And the events go right into the weekend. Well, some exciting news from the VI National Guard. Out of a class of 40 soldiers, Specialist Akeem O. Greenidge received the Distinguished Honor Graduate Training Award. He is a member of the 23rd WMD Civil Support Team. In addition, the Army Achievement Medal was awarded to Specialist Greenidge for his outstanding meritorious achievement, resulting in his selection as the Distinguished Honor Graduate of Class 005-14, Warrior Leader Course, United States Army Non-Commissioned Officer Academy. Specialist Greenidge attended the Warrior Leader Course at the Fort Allen Training Center's Regional Training Institute in Juana Diaz, Puerto Rico, from August 8 to 29th. The 5th and 6th graders at the Charles Emmanuel School will be able to stay on track when it comes to their schoolwork. The students got cool school planners on Thursday. They were provided by Rotary and Innovative. The two have partnered in recent years to continue the annual program started 14 years ago by the VI's National Guard. All of the territory's 5th and 6th grade students received those planners.
Giving the students these tools for them to be able to do better in school, I felt it was a worthy cause. You know, we keep talking the kids are our future. Well, let's give them the tools and the resources they need to be able to fulfill that future.
Supporting our youth and education is very important for Innovative. We really want to give back to the community. Both my parents were teachers. I grew up in a family of teachers, and education was always stressed with us as very important. It's a way up the ranks of our lives. We started using kind of ad hoc planners back then, and those things really facilitated me throughout my life. And so we really believe these planners will help the students, not just in 5th grade and 6th grade or high school, but also throughout college and the rest of their lives, quite frankly. So we're very happy to be supportive.
Well, great job. And speaking of tools and resources, gather up your cleaning supplies, your brooms, your whatever you have to show some support. The Shaw-Damali High School Parent-Teacher-Student Association says action speaks louder than words, and they will be hosting a Day of Caring on Monday, October 13th from 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Now, all students, faculty, staff, parents, alumni, and the general public are all welcome. Community service hours will be given to students who participate. Now, they are looking for participants to paint, power wash, plant, build, and sweep. Again, that's on VIPR Day, which is Monday, October 13th from 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. The USVI Hotel and Tourism Association, along with the VI Conservation Society, are pleased to announce that after the extensive annual review process, 5 beaches and 2 marinas have been awarded once again the Blue Flag status by the Foundation for Environmental Education. Now, Blue Flag is an exclusive eco-label promoting sustainable tourism and awarded to beaches and marinas worldwide who meet the established criteria of the program. The 5 beaches receiving this coveted certification are on St. Thomas and Emerald Beach, Great Bay, Trunk Bay, and Cinnamon Bay on St. John, and Pelican Cove on St. Croix. The 2 marinas that also received the certification on St. Thomas, it was Crown Bay Marina, and on St. Croix, Green Key Marina. On Sunday, October 5th at 9 a.m., Coral World Park, Koki Dive Center, Blue Flag USVI, UVI, and community volunteers got up really early. They joined the Ocean Conservancy for the annual International Coastal Cleanup events to clean Water Bay and Koki Point. Volunteer divers and snorkelers met at Koki Dive, and the necessary equipment and water was provided free of charge. Over 50 people, they say, heard the call and came to lend a helping hand. The first 30 participants receive a free day pass to Coral World Ocean Park as an incentive. The coastal cleanups in the USVI are being organized by the University of the Virgin Islands Marine Advisory Service. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.